Welcome back to Red Star Raceway. It's the final round of the DO Super GP Champions Trophy, and you join us as the Super 600 category makes their way out onto the circuit for their first race of the day. We've already seen some action from the Super Juniors and our Junior Championship being wrapped up by Aiden Liebenberg. And in fact, if you look on the left-hand side of the pit exit there, the all-yellow bike for the Furcore team and Shop 74 is, of course, our new Super Junior champion. Aiden Liebenberg coming out to do some fun and games and have some fun and games with Steven Odendaal, the outgoing champion for Super 600s, and of course the newly crowned champion, Adolf Boshoff. So it's all about champions in this 600cc class, and look forward to an incredible dice. If you are looking to pick up any of the action around the world in social media form, we are live streaming via Super GP Champions Trophies website, but more importantly is that we are live streaming via their Facebook page as well. So I was actually about to do a post then. They caught me out by going live.
Rudely interrupted.
I did get rudely interrupted. I'm trying to get onto Super GP Champions Trophy to listen to you and me, via you and me, and then share everything that's going out here.
I've done it already.
You've got nice signal here. I've got no signal.
I've done it already.
You're amazing. You're amazing.
You don't want to miss out on this racing action. Like you said, let's just talk of the riders taking part here. Steven Odendaal, 2016 Spanish Moto2 champion.
Yes.
And he's raced in a couple of Moto2 races already this year. I mean, that's an incredible job to say that. Adolf Boshoff, 17 or 18 now. No, 17 years of age.
17 years of age.
And just being crowned Super 600 champion. So just those two riders alone. Then you throw in the likes of Blaze Baker, won last time out at Desi Raceway, Malcolm Rudman, William Friend, your former Super Junior champion, young riders like Cam Aitken further back in the field on the Tasmania R6. So,
Byron Bester.
Yeah,
Byron Bester.
So, I mean, we've got internationally acclaimed riders here taking part in the Super 600s now, and watch for those lap times to tumble, and watch for lap records potentially to be erased here today, because these guys, we've got Steven Odendaal, just wants to win as many races as he can now. Dean Nelson there with the support of Nicole van Asvegen, unfortunately not taking part in the racing today, because her and her soon-to-be husband are expecting a beautiful little baby into the world. So congratulations to them. Watch out for this man all the way from Cape Town, Kieran Snyman, with Zante Otto there with looks like a sling on her arm, so I'm not quite sure what happened there.
Yeah, I think she had a little injury coming out of the Red Bull Rookies Cup, out of the EJC, I should say, not the Red Bull. I'm getting mixed up there. But of course, there's been so many riders in and out of the country all season long. To keep up with him is a hard task in itself.
Read Ride Fast next month,
yes,
and you'll know exactly who's been where.
Dylan Barnard also lines up after a great season, and also a potential race winner here, because he showed some prowess here in the first round we came to Red Star, and unfortunately had a little crash right in the closing stages of his heat, so he'll be looking to make amends. As we see the riders making their way to the front row, of course, looking at the way that front row lines up, look out for the champions we mentioned. The #1 plate, of course, will be on this bike for the last time today, and it's great to have him all the way back here on South African soil. He's certainly done South Africa a very good deed in terms of his ability in the Spanish Moto2 European Moto2 Championship, winning that championship, and of course still fighting for honours here with his good friend and arch rival Adolf Boshoff.
Finally the Suzukis have sprayed their
we've
bikes.
now got some official Suzuki colours on that motorcycle. You can see that he comes to take up his position, but front row as well for his good friend Malcolm Rudman, so that is just something to keep an eye on. More importantly, though, is have a look and see. There is no Adolf Boshoff anywhere near the front end of that field, due to the fact that in the qualifying, on his first hot lap, he put the Neolife Yamaha down. So he's going to have to start right from the back of the field.
So here we go, hashtag from last to first.
Yeah, problems for the rest of the field. I think keep an eye on that one.
Definitely.
Brad Binder's done it, so let's see if Adolf Boshoff can do it.
Adolf can do it, why not?
We mentioned Kieran Snyman. That's his highest finish, and looks like he's going to be good to go here from 4th position on the grid. Alongside him, Dylan Barnard. Then you've got Byron Bester. You can see them just working frantically there. And in fact, looking at the team that's around Byron Bester, Mike McGregor, of course, that's Luke McGregor's dad. Had a chat to him in passing as we went through the pit lane there.
Looking very factory.
Final, how's it? And thanks, Dad, for all the support there on the high-tech bike. He's on the Kawasaki this weekend. He's not on the Triumph like he would normally be.
Yeah.
But just going back to my thought there with Mike, him and Luke McGregor will be teammates next year in a big effort that's been put in by the high-tech and great workwear team.
Awesome.
And that's exactly what we want to see. Two riders fighting hard for 600cc honours here.
Definitely, and they're going to be riders running right at the front end of the field, no doubt. You can see at the back there the yellow tailpiece there of Lady Rider. That is Sandra Shelley. So great to see her running in the Super 600s here today. Aiden Liebenberg, her teammate, just a little bit further up the field there. Watch out for the likes of William Friend as well. We expect a lot of things out of our Super Junior champion from last year. Hasn't quite had the time in the saddle this year, but now getting to grips with that Kawasaki 600 machine as they head out on their warm-up lap. So watch out for William Friend. Friend coming from that third row of the grid, but and of course Adolf Boshoff coming from the back row of the grid. But Blaze Baker, I think on that newly painted Suzuki, is definitely one to watch out for, to hound that number one Yamaha.
It is fantastic. I mean, we spoke about the fact that Suzuki are back in the Super GP Champions Trophy, but more importantly now they're back officially as the factory team.
Yeah.
Under Uncle Andy's racing all season long in the camouflage bikes. They've now gone and got the official liveries.
MotoGP
and
stuff.
It's looking so good. Really good stuff. And I think possibility of 2 of those bikes next year in the 600s, possibility of 2000s as well. That new thousands are incredible.
Yeah.
So let's wait and see what they can do. But look at the rest of the field that's coming through here now. All the juniors that have had their chance in the Super Juniors and other categories starting to make amends and starting to become a force to be reckoned with in 600s. Sandra Shelley is one to mention there.
Definitely.
Riding in the club classes, riding in Thunder bikes all year, riding in the sub-10 category, doing a great job there, and now stepping up on the final time of asking here at Red Star, a circuit that has really gone well with her riding style. She's had some incredible outings here and has done some big damage to a lot of riders with big names here in the past as well. Not quite sure if she's going to get to the front end. This front end battle is so hotly contested, and it is literally Moto 2-esque.
Yeah.
You've got 6 or 7 riders that can basically follow each other around. You throw in a couple more, as I said, newly crowned champion, and on a high here, having removed that number 1 t-shirt and now put on his leathers one more time to go fight it out on the 62. I think Aiden Lindberg certainly has what it takes to run with the front end of this field and can give the majority of this field a very good run for their money.
Yeah, and watch out for the Otto Racing bike of Kewin Snyman. We saw down at PE picking up his first win in the Super 600 category, and he's lining up on the second row of the grid there. So a couple of names to be thrown into the hat there. Dion Nelson on the lone triumph now this weekend, with Byron Bester switching to his Kawasaki, and of course no Nicole van Aswegen. So got a big job there to do for him. Dylan Barnard, we know he's got the pace to run at the front here at Red Star Raceway. So definitely, I don't think going to be a spread out as we've seen in past races. A lot of bikes here for the last race of the season in the Super 600. So great to see so many bikes. Like you said, a lot of the young riders making the step up from the Super Juniors and indeed the 250 Cup up onto the 600 machines. So we're going to come under starters orders any second now, and we've seen it every time he's been here. Just about it's been the Stephen Oendal show, whole shotting. But don't count out Blaze Baker on that Suzuki. He's managed to get that bike launched right to the front end of the field, and in that new livery, it'll be great to see that out front.
It'll be really cool. As they come to take over the positions now for the official start of race 1 of Super 600s. Sneyman comes to 4, Dylan Barnard comes to 5, Byron Bester comes to 6. Still waiting for third place, Malcolm Rudman. He's taking his time to get to the front end. That's also a man that
mind
possibly...
games.
It is. It's all mind games, as you know. You've been involved there. You've been at the front end. I'm always at the back, so I'm not too worried about it. I'll just get going when I can. But we are under starters orders now. Green flag at the back. Lights about to go on. When they go off, we go racing. It is a great start from Baker, but a much better start from Oendal. And Oendal's going to have what it takes to go into the whole shot position and leads into turn 1. And it's Baker from Rudman. On Rudman's tail is Sneyman, Barnard. Then you've got, Aiden Lindberg doing a great job to sneak up there ahead of Dion Nelson and Byron Bester as they go down into turn 2 now. Things are starting to get sorted out in that mid-pack, but not sorted out in terms of the race in total. Bester up 1 position. Look at that. Incredible start from William Friend. Yep. William Friend up to 4th place. Better mention that, his mother Louise will shout at me. So there you go. William Friend having a great ride in 4th place. Hope you're listening, Louise. And you can comment on our Facebook page and tell us exactly how you're finding things here if you're not at the circuit already. So a much better start there from William Friend. We mentioned the fact in the juniors that the guys have come back from the Red Bull Rookie Cup will be fired up, having some international experience. That's exactly what William Friend has done here. He's come back from Red Bull Rookie Cup. He's fired up to show what he can do on this Kawasaki. Hasn't been there or thereabouts the whole season long, but certainly has what it takes on a motorcycle. And we've already seen that taking a championship last year in the Super Juniors, this youngster's got a future ahead of him. And I think it's going to be here in South Africa. Adolf Boshoff is already up ahead of Kewin Sneyman, and we're only down into the dog bone. So he's made up on 9 riders in the first half of the lap.
Oh, and looking so cowboy-esque now. He's right on the back tailpipe there of Byron Bester as they come through the long right-hander now. It's almost a triple apex, but if you go too wide, there's a couple of bumps there. So you see a lot of the riders, they do hug the curb, but yeah, I don't know if Boshoff's got enough, because already Oendal, Blaze Baker and Malcolm Rudman already pulling from the rest of the field. But what a start there from William Friend there in 4th position. But Adolf Borsov is coming and coming fast. Does the Suzuki? We've seen the Suzuki have a turn of pace down the back straight, but Stephen Windal at the moment looks like he's going to lead from start to finish on this opening lap. But Blaze Baker sideways, both riders running wide there. We saw it in the bots. So obviously the tailwind down at the back straight, catching a lot of the riders out and missing their brake markers. But as we said, across the line now, it's the number 1 plate of Stephen Windal. He leads out Blaze Baker, and in third place Malcolm Rudman. Then it looks like it's William Friend, and already Adolf Borsov making a move on Dylan Barnard into turn 1.
Well, we started this championship here. Looks like we're going to end it as well. And remember, with the first time of asking, it was 1 for 1. Windal took a victory, Borsov took a victory. And that's how it went almost every single round that the two of them fought out this championship. It's just a big pity, as I said earlier on in the link, that unfortunately we lost Windal for a couple of rounds when he went to go and take on the international fields in the Moto2 European World Championship and did that championship justice and went out and won it overall. Looking at the way things are going in this regional, we've got to keep an eye on the regional championship as well, because right now William Friend leads out, Dylan Barnard is second, Adolf Borsov, Byron Bester is third. Now Byron Bester has to get higher up than third place if he wants to wrap this up. He's fighting hard with Dylan Barnard. It's very close between the two of them for that regional championship. So let's see whether or not that is going to turn out for a bit of a change up here after race number 1 is completed and that checkered flag comes out.
Look at the standing start lap time from Stephen Windal, 59.2. That's incredible. I mean, so, look at Adolf Borsov, just watching the live stuff, sideways into there. So he's up into what? That's 4th place now, closing down already on Malcolm Rudman. So an incredible ride by your newly crowned Super 600 champion, Adolf Borsov, from the back of the grid now. And I said I don't think he would be able to close on Windal, but it looks like he's already doing that. But we've got to take tyre wear into consideration. He's going to use a lot of tyre to get up to the front 3 runners, while Stephen Windal doing a great job at the front at the moment. What a great job as well from the Suzuki team. Remember at the beginning of the year, the first race here, the Suzuki was nowhere near the Yamaha bikes. Since then, we've seen the Suzuki take race victories and run a lot closer to the 2 Yamahas out front. So incredible job there from the Uncle Andy Suzuki team. But Adolf Borsov, look how late on the brakes he is, sideways. Look how much time he closes on Malcolm Rudman. Oh, it's Adolf Borsov, he's coming and he's coming fast.
Yeah, just under braking, he looks incredible. And now tries to get the squirt on down the main straightaway across the line, a complete lap number 2. And looking at the way things have gone right there, an incredible ride from Stephen Windal. He hangs on to the lead for now, but it's not going to be an easy lead to fight for. 154.9 and a 54.7 out of Adolf Borsov. So he's 2/10 quicker than the leader. That's why he is just reeling Rudman in. And Rudman's days are numbered. In fact, here we go. Thanks for coming. 3rd place, Rudman. See you later. See you at the podium, buddy.
No ways. I mean, that is incredible.
2 laps, he's up to 3rd.
He's literally made an Adolf Borsov line around the Red Trail racetrack. He's just putting that Neo-Life Yamaha wherever he wants it. And that's a testament to Marty Petzold and the Anasys racing team to give Adolf Borsov a bike that he can do the things that we've seen this year from the newly crowned champion. So his next target now is that very fast Uncle Andy Suzuki in the new livery. And then, of course, Stephen Windal out front. So a little bit of work to do there. But if he can run half a second a lap faster, which he's doing almost at the moment, he will close down, because there's still plenty of laps remaining for Adolf Borsov to close down.
Great ride here from Borsov, as you can see. Not worried about the fact that the championship is already in his hands. He also still wants to, and is just as hungry as everybody else for race wins. And of course, it's always a nice thing to leave the final championship round with that last win of the season, or even the second last win of the season, as a confidence booster for your sponsors, and to show that they've put their money where their mouths are, and definitely has paid off in the long run. It has certainly done that for Brad Anasys' team. They have a possibility of course, 2 titles. Still with an outside chance, Kinsella, and of course he's going to be working hard on that one in the next 2 races of the Super GP Champions Trophy here today. But right now it's Windal, and he is just absolutely up and ducking at the front end. 54.9s out of him on the last pass, 54.7s out of Borsov. Borsov going to go a little bit quicker than that even, as Blaze Baker gets a foot out and tries to fend off the massive attack coming from that Neo-Life Yamaha of Borsov.
It's scary to watch Adolf Borsov go into that final chicane, because he literally breaks almost 25 to 50 meters later than anyone, gets that bike completely sideways, and just when you think there's no ways he's going to stop that Neo-Life Yamaha, he somehow manages to just put it right, flick it right, left, and he's on the front straight. So to watch this kid in action, 2/10 quicker. I don't know if that's still enough. Windal's still got enough of a lead. If he does 2/10 a lap, I don't know if that'll be enough. But remember, he's still coming through traffic at those lap times. So now he's got a little bit of free track. He's already closed right onto the tailpipes almost of Blaze Baker on the Suzuki. And Brad Anasys must be paying big prize money, because there's Dion Nelson unfortunately running off at turn 1. But Adolf Borsov is looking like a man possessed, almost a man that if I don't win, I don't get paid. So I need to get my Neo-Life Yamaha up to the front. But already now in the slipstream of the Suzuki, looks like Blaise Baker already having some rear tire issues. They're coming onto the back straight. So sitting duck, and some gestures there from Adolf Boshoff saying, let me pass, follow me, and let's close down on Steven Oendal.
Yeah, he's saying, come with me. Let's go together and work together to close in on that Yamaha out front. The Petra racing machine of Oendal has been a dominant bike, and it's very difficult to... Oh, how is he hanging onto the back end of that motorcycle? Because it is slipping and sliding everywhere. If you think Baker had a big moment going onto that back, the first straight, there was a massive moment going into the dog bone there for Boshoff. But he's done that every single lap of these first three that they've completed. Now, look at the lap times, 54.7s out of Oendal, 54.5s out of Adolf Boshoff. That's 2/10. There are still 9 laps to go, so there's more than enough time for him to reel in, and I think we may find ourselves with a bit of a three-way battle at the closing stages here of first 600s.
Oh, it's incredible to watch Adolf Boshoff in action. It really is. I want to see this kid on a Moto2 bike or in World Supersport, because he has got some serious talent. Watch where he brakes. He goes past the 150 mark, almost at the 100-meter mark, clamps the brakes on, gets it completely sideways. You can see Blaise Baker trying to brake where he was and ran almost off the circuit there. So Blaise Baker, I think now that's pretty much ended his chances of going with Adolf Boshoff to try and close down on Steven Oendal, who does the same. You can see he's got no rear grip. Does Blaise Baker. He doesn't have the same kind of grip that Adolf Boshoff and Steven Oendal on the Yamaha has. So he's going to pretty much have to settle for third place. It's whether or not now Adolf Boshoff, sideways stuff from Adolf Boshoff, can close down on another sideways rider, Steven Oendal, at the front of the field.
Yeah, it's a great ride here from them. There's no doubt about it. An incredible effort being put in by Boshoff to get up to second place by lap 4. Only 2.6 seconds off on the pass, but both of them in the 54.9s now. So even Stevens in terms of that. Then you got Rudman. There comes the battle here for a regional championship. Now, this is nice to see that our guys have gone back to this, because this is not only a battle for the Super 600 Nationals. These three riders are fighting for regional honors as well. William Friend not really in the mix, but looking for the final regional victory of the season, or one of them at least.
Yeah.
But Dylan Barnard certainly fighting very hard with Byron Bester, the other Kawasaki just behind there, the high-tech Elements and Grange workwear machine. And it looks like the two of them having to get together to work, all three on Kawasaki. So in terms of machinery, everybody on the same bike. It's now up to riders. Very similar to what these guys would have done when they were in the 250 Cup, when they were in the 390s as well. William Friend, of course, coming through those ranks. Last year's champion in the 250s being Byron Bester. So knowing exactly what to do in terms of their abilities. Now on 600s, even Steven, and on a playing field that is in almost perfect condition here for these three to fight out for the regional championship.
Dylan Barnard looks like he's got a little bit of extra pace there behind William Friend, but Friend now using that international experience he's got after just competing in the Red Bull Rookies tryouts, and much better riders from William Friend. This is the William Friend we know and that we love, and the talented rider that we know can run at the front in the field. He comes on the back straight, takes a huge look behind him. I don't know if that's the smartest thing to do, because now Dylan Barnard is right in his slipstream and might pull out and make a move on the brakes. We know how late William Friend is on the brakes, but here comes Dylan Barnard. Is he going to creep on the inside? No, just William Friend doing enough to hold on to that, what is fifth position at the moment. But it's a good dice there between the three Kawasaki's. Byron Bester just had a couple of tenths back there, but look at the lap times. He is a man closing down on that at the moment, so he can get himself on the tailpipe of those two guys. Could definitely be a big battle there now for the top 5 positions. Oh, William Friend with a big moment coming out of turn 1 and a sacrifice.
Best is going for the inside. He's going to try and attack while the iron is hot, and he's got through. So Bester goes with Barnard. He has to go with Barnard. That's the championship battle for the regionals. So Byron Bester on the high-tech Kawasaki fighting hard there with Dylan Barnard. There's a move as well. Whoa, Radman starting to mix it up with Blaise Baker. So third place starting to heat up Kawasaki versus Suzuki. Two Yamahas disappearing at the front end. Baker's having issues on that bike.
No grip.
There is no grip whatsoever on that Suzuki. He's having to fight double time and work twice as hard as what Rudman's having to do there for the third place battle. And oh, there you go. Goodbye. Kawasaki just disappears past the official the Suzuki, and Baker has no answer.
Baker's got big issues on that Suzuki. Look how much time he's already lost. It'll be interesting to see if he actually manages to stay out on the track and doesn't pit, because I don't know if it's just tire issues. He might actually have internal issues with that bike, because you can see him slowing up completely now. So unfortunately, the man starting from second on the grid and will be pole position for race number 2 with his second fastest time from qualifying, having big issues. Yeah, he's dropped from second down into 4th place now, and a distant 4th place. So big issues there for the Uncle Andy Suzuki rider. Yeah, no, he's pulling up. And that's Blaise Baker now pulling up, shaking his head, not happy. So we'll see that Suzuki pulling into pits now for sure anytime soon as he takes a look behind him. He's got Dylan Barnard now, and that's Byron Bester right on his tail, so watch out for that battle. Looking at the back wheel, so I wonder if he's got a flat tire or maybe something wrong with the back tire, but look now, Byron Bester's done an incredible job to close right onto the tailpipes of Dylan Barnard. Will he do it on the brakes? He's going to the inside. Blaze Baker still putting his nose in there.
Oh, look at that.
Here we go.
Bester uses Baker to his advantage and sneaks through. Barnard has the chance and Baker has to get out of it. That was incredible stuff. Byron Bester using probably the EJC knowledge there, because in EJCs you've got 9 riders into a corner at the same time, and you just take the opportunity whether it's there or not. So a massive change around and a massive turnaround, I should say, as they came across the line. William Friend led the last time they crossed the line. He's now about 10 bike lengths back, ahead of Blaze Baker, who maintains and stays out there to try and get as many points as possible. But at the front end of the regional championship, it's Byron Bester. Bester now in with a shot of possibly even getting onto the national podium if something goes wrong with any of the riders up front. There are 3 riders ahead of him. Bester running extremely wide, a little bit wider than what he'd like in terms of those Pirelli tyres ability, but he keeps it very good into turn 4. Now under 5, he's got about 3 bike lengths on Dylan Barnard, and Barnard's got to do it all now.
Yeah, Byron Bester, this is one of the best rides we've seen from him. This is back to his 250 Cup days. Remember, crowned 250 Cup champion last year, and really putting that bike where he wants it. So obviously gaining a huge amount of experience racing last time out at Jerez in the EJC, picking up that top 15 position and more championship points in that category. So this is a world-class Byron Bester we're seeing here now. And like you said, if he can close down onto Malcolm Rudman or any issues from our top 3 riders, that's a first national podium position there for our leading regional rider, Byron Bester.
Yeah, he's still got a shot of a very high position in the nationals as well. A bit further back here, you can see that's Sandra Shelley fighting hard for the 112 bike. And looks like some fun and games there with Addison Pinto. So our 2 lady riders having some fun at the back of the field. So nothing wrong with that. Great to see both the lady riders in the 600s and doing a great job of it, fighting for 14th and 15th. And remember that Sandra Shelley's also riding in the regional class, so at this stage sits in the top 7 there for regionals.
And Pinto, I might be mistaken, but riding one of the Neo-Life bikes, I think it comes from one of our African countries, so we'll have to just find out there from Anastas Racing who's let that rider ride the bike there.
She's from Angola.
She comes from Angola. So just Stephen Watson filling us in there. So great to see a little bit of African flavor out on track here at Red Star Raceway to truly make it an African and almost international event, because we've got the likes of 2016 Moto2 Spanish champion Stephen Undal out front and Angolan rider further down the field there with Sandra Shelley. So really a great mixture of riders here, 15 bikes. So one of the bigger fields that we've seen in the Super 600s this year, and really world-class racing here at Red Star Raceway. Dylan Barnard now just put in his personal best lap of the race, trying to chase down Byron Bester. That's a battle we're seeing on screen at the moment. So that Kawasaki battle far from over, but really, really impressed here with Byron Bester. He's been on the Triumph the last couple of races, had a couple of issues with the Triumph, it must be said. Climbed back onto the Kawasaki now and looking like a different prospect.
Yeah, he looked very good on the Triumph down at Desi's Raceway, but he said he wasn't quite on the same kind of confidence level he's got with the Kawasaki. He looks back out of the SL Graphics Arai helmet and should be just going flat out, not worrying about the man behind him, but he's definitely having a squiz back there just to make sure. Looking at the lap times, he's in the 56.8, 57.1, so it's 3/10 between them. Yeah. So he's got a little bit of margin to play with, and we know that he can probably put in a low 56 if he needed to. But Barnard, of course, is always hungry, and unfortunately with Dylan, the kind of season he's had has been an up and down one. He's had a couple of crashes this season, so we'll have to wait and see if he's able to close this little gap down. It's only about half a second, so great to see regional riders for the regional championship fighting for top 4 honours here in the national championship. These are the riders that are going to take over from the likes of Adolf Boshoff and Stephen Undal as they go off into greener pastures. Adolf Boshoff being touted to be one of the 1,000 riders next year with a 2-bike 1,000cc team in Braden Nass's camp. That's what I've heard. It is the silly season, so we'll wait and see. I know that Ride Foster are going to do a whole thing on it, so hopefully you've got all that inside information to bring us. And then, of course, Malcolm Rudman, if somebody doesn't pick him up, then they're certainly not looking at options available. As I mentioned, Byron Bester and McGregor will be teaming up next year and possibly going at it for a 600cc title with full effect. McGregor stepping up for the first time in the 600s, and Bester will be fighting hard with his teammate for honours. Dylan Barnard still with very minimal amounts of sponsorship on there, but certainly another rider that could find his way into a factory team if there was a possibility.
If there's a seat available.
And there's an opening, yes.
And remember, there's a new Yamaha R6 model coming out next year. So just like we've seen in the Super GPs, the Yamaha machine might be the bike to have next year. But Dylan Barnard now, he's closed right onto the back end of Byron Bester. So maybe Byron using a lot of tire to close that gap onto Dylan Barnard and just has to maintain now. Barnard, you can see on the brakes, they're so similar riding styles, these two riders. You can see they hang off, very modern day style, hang off the bike, throw it into the turn. But Barnard doing a great job just to close that gap. And I think he's going to sit there now to the end of the race. It'll be pointless to make the move now, because then Byron Bester, using his EJC experience, will just sit in the slipstream of him and come straight back.
Yeah, the other issue you've got to take into account here is both of them very similar heights as well. Well over 6'3", both riders.
Taller than me.
In terms of 600 cc's, not the ideal machine to be on,
No.
I'd have to say. You'd probably be, if you needed to, on 1,000 cc, those two boys will start to come into their own.
Yeah.
And I think that's exactly why Adolf Bossov is looking to go that way as well. David van der Lingen, he's of course having a good ride down there in 13th place and sitting in 7th overall in the regional category.
A new rider to the championship.
Yeah,
right?
nice to see him stepping up and into this category. And I think also boding well for what's going to happen in terms of next year with the combination of Extreme and Super GP on some occasions. Some of the riders in our local towns of PE and Cape Town, some wildcard riders going to come play in this event and hopefully be national championship contenders. Big look back once again from Bester. Look at how even those two Kawasaki's are. Man, there's just nothing between those two.
It's all about on the brakes.
Now, who's good on the brakes? Who's got the ability to take the corner speed as well? But almost identical stuff, almost all around. Little issue there coming through the flick-flack of the Diode chicane, but you can see Barnard, as you've mentioned, is just sitting there waiting. They are not too far off the back end of Rudman, though, and looking at the times that Rudman is doing, 57.6s, we're getting 56.9s out of Barnard. So if Barnard keeps the pressure applied onto Bester, Bester and him could close down on Rudman, and we could have a three-way Kawasaki battle for the final step of the podium.
And our early race hero, William Friend, unfortunately dropping down the field a bit now, along with Blaze Baker. They're down in 8th and 9th position now, so definitely big problems there for Blaze Baker, just running in the 211. So he's got big problems on that Suzuki. He's just trying to get as many championship points as he can. But that's promoted Kewan Snyman up into 6th place. Aiden Liebenberg, we've just seen him climb off the KTM RC390 bike, running in 7th, the top 10 position here in the Super 600. So incredible ride there from the regional, running almost on a podium in the regional category. So good ride there. But yeah, William Friend, he's down to 8th place now. So some issue there. Maybe he ran off track a little bit.
I think maybe he made a mistake somewhere on the circuit, because for Aiden Liebenberg to get ahead of William Friend, it wasn't what I expected, considering the fact that William Friend was leading this battle we're watching right now, the regional class,
couple of laps ago,
and was 4th overall at one point on the track too. So there must have been an issue somewhere on the track for William Friend. Needless to say, he's still in with a shot and still in with a top 10 finish, ahead of Blaze Baker, the Suzuki factory rider.
Yeah. That's the battle that we're talking about. That's Sandra Shelley. That's our two lady riders. So the lady from Angola, she's right on the tailpipes now, that Neo-Life Yamaha of Sandra Shelley. So big honors here further down the field. You can understand from these two ladies they both want to be the first lady home. So Sandra Shelley at the moment on her Kawasaki machine doing an incredible job to hold off the lady from Angola on the Neo-Life Yamaha factory machine there. So great to see her to come here and take on South Africa's best at Red Star Raceway in the Super 600s.
Now, it's kind of how they've gone at the Neo-Life team. They've brought in a couple of international prospects on occasions, and we've seen some great battles with those guys and girls that have come from all around the world to fight and be part and parcel of the Diode Super GP Championship Trophy. Remember, if you're out there in social media land, we are going live on the Super GP website. We're also going live via the Super GP Facebook page for the first time this time out. So you can see all of the action live on Facebook, and about a minute after the race, you can then go and share that, and you've got it to watch it anytime and as many times as you want. That's the whole idea with how we're going to change things up here for the coverage and incredible coverage we're getting out of Super GP Champions Trophy. Into turn 4, Barnard is definitely looking a little bit more dangerous. And remember, we've got 1.5 laps to go here, Rob. So I think Barnard might just be applying a bit more pressure onto the 12 rider there of Byron Bester.
Yeah, I'm really liking, though, the job that Byron Bester is doing at the moment. He's doing a fantastic job to hold off Dylan Barnard, who's pretty much hounded him the whole race. It's not an easy thing to do when you can hear that bike right on your tailpiece, and that's why you'll see he might have another look over his shoulder as he comes onto the little back straight here. No, he doesn't this time. He knows Dylan Barnard's there, so he's had the look. He knows he's there. He knows what he needs to do. Just brake as late as possible. Hit your apex. If you do the basics right, then Dylan Barnard won't be. Oh, Barnard with a big moment coming out of the hairpin there. Lost the rear end of that Kawasaki machine. So he's lost a couple of bike lengths there now with closing stages of the race now. that's what I said. You've got to stick to the basics in the final part of this race. If Byron Bester can hit the apex, be smooth on the throttle, not lose the rear end of that Kawasaki, he'll bring it home. And you can see now Dylan Barnard maybe with a little bit of rear grip issues there, because he's lost a hatful of time now to Byron Bester, who's looking comfortable there in 4th overall and leading out in the regional category.
Yeah, that's exactly what he needed to do. The pressure was being applied. Barnard pushed the pressure, and he pushed it a little bit too much. And I think what he's done now is he's maybe just eased off slightly. He thinks, you know what, there's going to be a 2nd place here in the regionals. There's a top 5 overall.
There's a race 2.
Race 2, we'll have another go at it and see what happens.
That's exactly what's happened now. But really impressed now there with Byron Bester. And it's great to see the young riders learning and bringing their international experience over and putting it into effect here in the Super 600s, as this man has done. Look at Stephen Oendal. Perfection from start to finish. That #1 plate, that is why he's got the #1 plate on. Remember, next year hopefully we'll see him in full-time Moto2 action after run.
I can't wait for that.
It'll be incredible to see him. Look what the job he's done. I mean, Adolf Borsov has come through the field, and look at this, what, 10-second lead over Adolf Borsov. Had to use a lot of tire to come into 2nd place. So race 2 got it all to do again, starting at the back of the grid again. So he's got to try and get through the field as a little bit quicker than he did in race #1, and I don't know how much quicker you would want him to get, because did an incredible job. But sideways stuff from Stephen Oendal, who's literally been unchallenged in this race.
Later in the day, he might have track conditions a bit better, and might be not as hot, so it might just ease up the pressure applied on the Pirelli rubber that they run on. But going to take nothing away from this man. Moto2 European World Champion. Incredible ride, an incredible season from this man. He has gone back-to-back victories. He's also gone 1-for-1 victories with the man in 2nd place right now. So there's a possibility we may see a 1-for-1 in the final time of asking here. Stephen Oendal going at it this hard. Remember, if he does get a ride in Moto2, I'm sure that's where he's going to be concentrating next year. I saw that in the new Ride Fast magazine, he also covered the fact that he got a test on the KTM bike,
yeah, Brad's
which
bike
is
for
just
next year.
Incredible. So
that's how well respected
Can
he
you
is.
imagine we had 2 South African riders in Moto2 next year? That'll just be mind-blowing.
Oh, it'll be incredible. And I know, speaking to Brad,
sideways.
look at that.
That is just incredible.
On the last lap, you don't need to do it.
Love it, love it, love it.
Let's see if he's going to pop him or coop him on the back wheel as he comes onto the front straight here.
Here we go.
He's going to line it up. Will he do it?
No, stand up.
No, stand up.
He's got Senna style. No wheelies, just stand up on the pegs. So Oendal takes it. Well done for him, and a great ride, and incredible stuff coming out of Adolf Borsov as well.
This is a regional battle here.
Shop and change battle here. Look at this. William Friend fighting hard. This was a few seasons ago in 250 Cup, and they're back at it again now in 600. So this, of course, is now going to be for 3rd place, I beg your pardon, in the regionals. Byron Bester has taken the win in the regionals.
Great ride.
Super stuff, and 4th place overall ahead of Dylan Barnard. Here is the 3rd place battle. William Friend and Liebenberg going at it. Liebenberg going to be late on the brakes into the final turn. He's got him.
On the brakes.
Liebenberg goes up the inside of William Friend. Friend is going to try and come back now. Can he go and squeeze him out? It's a drag race to the line.
Oh, you're not going to pass it. You can't.
Come on. Here we go. Around the outside. No, Liebenberg's got it. Enough to the line. Aiden Liebenberg, a great ride there. Super stuff. And that will be 3rd place in the regionals for Aiden Liebenberg. That's his highest finish, I think, in the regionals and in the nationals as well. And congratulations goes out to Oendal and Borsov and Rudman taking the nationals. Regionals goes to Bester, Barnard and Liebenberg. And in our ladies, I think Sandra Shetty might just hang on to take the win over Addison Pinto from Angola. Great riding. I'm going to join you at the podium in a few seconds' time.
Yeah, make your way to the back of the pits here by our commentary booth. That is where Greg will be catching up with our top 3 riders. Stephen Oendal, the man with the #1 plate. What an incredible job he did there. Adolf Borsov from last up into 2nd place. And to watch that guy in action is absolutely incredible. Well worth the entry fee here at Red Star Raceway. Just watching Adolf Borsov, the cowboy, get it all kinds of sideways. Malcolm Rudman all the way up from KZN. Another podium finish for the man in 3rd place there. And then, like you said, it was all about Byron Bester in 4th. Dylan Barnard in 5th, Kewan's name on the man from Cape Town in 6th, Aiden Liebenberg 7th, William Friend 8th, Dion Nelson 9th, and Cameron Aiken down in 10th place. So make your way to the back of the pits here, where we'll see our top 3 riders chatting to Greg Maloney.
1, 2. Yeah, you got it. 2, 2. 1, 2. In the podium here for Super 600's first race of the day. An incredible outing here for a lot of the riders, and a couple of guys that weren't expecting to be on the podium are here. There's no doubt about it. There's a couple of riders that I think were trying to get from the back of the field that got there eventually. But more importantly, is an incredible 600 race, as always, in the Super GP Champions Trophy. We're going to get our riders onto the podium. It's a super effort here from the man from down in Banana Land, and once again back up on the podium. He had to fight hard with his good friend Blaze Baker, who looks like he had a small issue on the Suzuki, but needless to say, the Paramount trucks and Oslick Racing Machine will be up there. And let's get him onto the podium initially with that Pirelli cap on. Congratulations to Malcolm Rudman, third place today. Second place, and he didn't quite do the Brad Binder and go from the back to the front, but he tried hard to get there. He wasn't too far off, and he finishes in second place on the podium, riding out of the Nino powered by Yamaha team. Let's hear it for the cowboy, Adolf Boshoff, your new 600cc champion. The outgoing champion's done it all right today, and he went from the pole position to win the race outright, and congratulations to Petra Racing and the Yamaha team. Well done, Stephen Undahl, the pocket rocket back on top. Tim from Gas will hand out third place to Malcolm Rudman. Thanks, Tim Cook. Second place, Stephen Watson is going to be handing that one to Adolf Boshoff. And Raymond from Pirelli will be handing out first place to Stephen Undahl. Let's make some noise for our first podium for Super 600s, ladies and gents, here at Red Star Raceway. It's the final round of Super GP Champions Trophy, proudly brought to you by Diode. Let's have a quick chat to our top three riders. Malcolm, come on down here, big guy. Dude, a big battle with the Blaze initially, and also not too far off the back end of the pace of Steven, but eventually he got away, and you had to just try and fend off everybody else coming through. We lost Blaze, but you still had to fight with that off.
Yeah, no, definitely. Blaze was very fast today. Unfortunately, he had a bit of problems. Don't know what happened to the Suzuki, but I think if he didn't have a problem today, we would have had a good fight, eh? Definitely.
Looking forward to race number 2 now, maybe keeping the cowboy behind you?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, we'll make some changes, and hopefully we can be up there.
Awesome stuff. Good job today. Well done. More of the same, hopefully, from you later. Boshoff, you're going to come across your cowboy. Dude, I know you were battling a little bit with a limp there, a little bit of a crash yesterday. It didn't quite go according to plan in the qualifying session, but having to start from the back means you got a lot of work to do.
Yeah, this was an exciting race, and well done to Stephen and Malcolm. They're really riding well, and yeah, we don't like second, so we will push harder the second race. Hopefully my legs are better, but that's no excuse. Well done to the guys. They really rode well. Just a big shout out to New Life, Portable Shade, Yamaha, South Africa. Without you guys, this wouldn't be possible. Thank you so much.
Good job. We'll see you later on. Good job, cowboy. Pooch, come on in here, buddy. Man, you've had a busy couple of weeks, eh? Got to test the KTM Moto 2 bike. That must have been incredible. But more importantly, back on South African soil and back to where you like to be, top of the podium.
Yeah, no, the guys are riding really well, and also I think that international experience helps me a little bit. The heat is incredible, so it's a good training ground, but well done to everyone, and just a big thanks to my team because they made the bike good enough to put it on the top.
It's gone from strength to strength with this motorcycle, there's no doubt about it, but more importantly now is double in the day, or are we going to see, like we started the season, 1 for 1?
Yeah, no, it's going to be an interesting second race. We got a new set of tyres, so we can see what we can do with that.
I like to hear that. That's fighting words. All right, up next, ladies and gents, we can head back onto the grid and get the next race going, but great stuff from our Super 600s.